Hey guys, it's a while since I've done one of these Ancestry videos. I did quite a few last year. I've got a whole playlist on them if you'd like to go and have a look, like over in that corner right over there. But it's ages since I did an update. What happens when you submit your DNA to one of these Ancestry companies is that they hold your data on a database. So when they have an update on their database, they send you an email to say there's been an update on your profile. And I actually did 4 different DNA tests. I submitted DNA to 4 different sites that offer this. So I did MyHeritage, which you're seeing on the screen right now, Living DNA, Ancestry DNA, and 23andMe. Yes, I spent the money, guys. Not sponsored by any of these companies. I bought all of these tests myself. Over the Christmas period, they must update yearly or something. Over the Christmas period, I got like an email from every single one of these 4 companies. So it's now time to do an update video. It's interesting how when the databases have accrued more information and they've kind of re-evaluated that data in relation to your own DNA, the estimates can change. I'm going to just update you and tell you what these 4 companies have said about my ancestry. I know my mum is British. She did her DNA last year via 23andMe, is what I bought her for Christmas last year. And she is mainly British, Northwestern European. I don't have her DNA to show you. She hasn't shared it with anyone, so I can't show it you. And my biological father was from Sicily, which is a little island that looks like it's getting kicked by the boot that is Italy. Sicily as a little island in the Mediterranean, very idyllic, and I'm stuck here in cold, rainy Lancashire. But anyway, Sicily's been invaded loads of times in the past, so people who have Sicilian ancestry have quite commonly have got like African influence, they've got Middle Eastern influence, just because the place was invaded loads of times, like in history. Anyway, that's the backstory. So I've got a note here of what the percentages were across. Actually, I've only got 3 of the companies here. So bear these in mind when I go through the updates. So 23andMe recorded me. So this was my initial assessment from 23andMe. That was primarily European, with a little bit, 1.2% of West Asia or North African, but the majority was either Italian or British. Now within Britain, because Britain was invaded loads of times as well, British tends to be the more Celtic side, but then you've got influences from Scandinavia like the Vikings, from Germanic countries because of the Anglo-Saxons. It's absolutely fascinating. So that was my 23andMe. Ancestry didn't find any North African. They found Greek, 6% Greek, but the majority was either English / Northwestern European or Italian, with some Ireland or Scotland. So that's the more kind of Celtic. And I'll talk about Scotland in a little while. And Living DNA, which I think is the least accurate because they're a smaller company, so the database isn't as big. 94.3% Europe and then 5.7% Middle East. All right, so what does MyHeritage say that I am? So it tells me I'm 38% Northwest European, 16% Italian, 40% Iberian, which is Spain, 7.4% Eastern European, 6.1% Greek and South Italian. So that would be Greek islands, I guess, and South Italian could be Sicily, it could be, I guess, Malta, I don't know, but yeah. And then 4.9% Scandinavian and 7% North African and 4% Middle Eastern and then 1.3% West Asian. So you know, you can see on the map here. Can I do something with this map? Can I move it? Can I move it down? There we go. So it's not kind of found British, because I think it's kind of found this within Britain. Maybe it's just not very specific. Maybe it's because it's got a smaller database. So we've got the Vikings, we've got Anglo-Saxons, and then we've got Eastern European. So it's kind of like, and then all of these are all variations on Sicily, because all of these places make up a Sicilian ancestry. That's interesting, isn't it, guys? But if you were using just this for your ancestry assessment, then you're going to look like a mongrel. You're going to look like you've got ancestors everywhere, and ultimately you have, right? But it's not very specific. So I know that I'm 50% British and all of what that combines, and then 50% Sicilian and what all that combines. Anyway, let's move on to living DNA. So when I got these results back initially, I was the least kind of impressed by it. Actually, whoa, why have you homed in on Scotland? Or specifically Aberdeenshire, it said. To that part of Scotland. And apparently what living DNA is good at is highlighting the areas where it finds genetic matches. So if you're British, then living DNA is one that perhaps you would be interested in, because it assesses the area. So Aberdeen 1.8%, and I do believe I've potentially got Scottish ancestors from a few generations back. I only say that because I've been doing like my family tree for years now, and I know a lot about them. And on my granddad's side, so my maternal grandfather, his great grandma, her maiden name was Armstrong. And I know that Armstrong is a Scottish name. So if your name's Armstrong, and your that's your name for your biological ancestors, then you are going to have some Scottish in you. And then all of this is kind of northwest England. I'm here. I live about here. And then I've got a Yorkshire ancestor from Halifax, just over the wrong side of the hills. My nan's granddad was from Halifax, and then his wife was from Lincolnshire. So where is Lincolnshire? That's East Anglia. I don't know. Anyway, so, and then, can I go back? Oh my God. Right, there we go. And then it's found the Italian side, so it's focused around here. Now, its first iteration didn't find Sicily at all, so this is actually its third iteration, I think. They seem to be updating their database quite regularly. Now, I'm wondering whether that's because they're a smaller company, and, as more people buy in, they get a bigger database. So it's found the Eastern European, it's got a Danish, I guess that's Vikings. But anyway, there you go. So that's living DNA. And then I've got Ancestry and 23andMe, which are two of the bigger companies. They're like the biggest companies in this area. And living DNA does well-being. I'd not seen this before. These are just based on just a few gene variants, so I'm not that impressed by it, honestly. Vitamin D, vitamin C, vitamin A, vitamin B12, omega-3. So as a vegan, people complain that I might be short of omegas. Well, my omega-3 metabolism does not appear to be impacted by genetic markers. So yeah, you can explore the science, but it's just based on like one gene variant. So whatever. Right, move me down a bit. There we go. Let's look now at Ancestry and 23andMe. And with 23andMe, I got all the health data. On 23andMe, I like 23andMe because you can completely geek out on genes, because there's a search function. Let's move to the other screen. I'll move me over here. Okay, so this is Ancestry.com. Again, this has gone through, I think this is maybe its third iteration now, but what it does is it gives me my before the update. I'm in the way again. Right, put me down there. That was my initial. It said that I'm 46.9% South European, with the majority being Italy, a little bit Spain, And then broadly Southern European, that's where it can't pinpoint it to an area. And then 45.6% Northwestern European, so that's my father, that's my mother. And then 4.3% West Asian and North African. So it's all these companies are highlighting the same areas. It's just what percent you are of them. After the update, it's made it a lot neater. Look at it. From that, all of those different potentials to that. So 51.6% Italian, and then 48.4% Northwestern European, with the vast majority being British and Irish. Interestingly, they've put regions in now. So British and Irish with Greater Manchester. So I'm actually in Lancashire, but the majority of my Lancastrian ancestors actually come from what is now Greater Manchester or Merseyside. So Wigan and surrounding areas. I'm not impressed with Greater London. Who have I got down in London? I hate London. But it's just finding matches, you see. Merseyside, Lancashire, West Midlands, West Yorkshire, so that's Herbert. Nottinghamshire, I guess it's finding Annie's. She's actually in Lincolnshire, but I guess. And then Ireland, possible match. Now, this is the Celtic. I'm not aware I've got any Irish ancestors, but it's finding the Celtic, you see. So, fascinating. So maybe as the databases increase and they got more input, more data, then they can specify kind of home in. And this is demonstrated on 23andMe. Oh, shit. That was 23andMe. I've gone wrong. That was 23andMe. I'll put a note on the screen. That was 23andMe. Silly me. So before update, after update. And I like 23andMe because they do traits, all reports. I've got videos on all of these guys. Slightly increased risk of age-related macular degeneration. So my nan had that. She went blind. My mum's got it, but her eyesight's fine at the moment. Celiac disease. Then my carrier status, I've got MCAD deficiency as a variant. If you have 2 variants of that, it's like proper dangerous. In the UK, they test newborn babies for this because it kills you, and you have to you basically can't take energy from mid-chain fatty acids, so you have to be glucose fired, not fat fired. And I have a problem with digesting fat, and some of the research says that actually people who are the carriers, who just carry one variant, they do have some symptoms. So I believe I do have some symptoms. So I'm fueled by carbs, and nobody can say anything otherwise. So I've none of these other nasty variants. Wellness, it's so interesting. Alcohol flush reaction, deep sleep. I can sleep anywhere. Way above average. I am lactose tolerant. I have a problem. I think it's the proteins I've got a problem with in milk. Obviously, I don't drink milk because I'm vegan, and it's just torture and horrible and murder and stuff. So yeah, that's 23andMe, not Ancestry. I'll make sure it's clear on the video. This is Ancestry. Right, where can I put myself? This is Ancestry. So this is, again, after the update. In the first iteration of this, it didn't find North Africa at all, but it's found 2%. 2% Cyprus, which is near Greece. 35% mainly Sicily. And then these guys are doing British areas as well. So again, Merseyside, Cheshire, South Lancashire, Wigan, Bolton and Warrington. So Wigan and Bolton, yeah. Yorkshire, yeah. They're all much of a muchness, right? This is the thing. They're all much of a muchness, but they vary in the percentages. As they get more specific, they're able to, go back to 23andMe, they're able to like just home in on very specific areas. Isn't it interesting? So let me know what you think down below. Have you done one of these? If so, which one did you do? What did they find? Have you had any interesting updates? Am I African? I think yes, I am African, but it's via my Sicilian ancestors. So there you go. Let me know what you think. Bye, guys.